Hello and good afternoon friends, welcome to the CEC EduSet live lecture. Dear friends, as you know that we are carrying a series on sustainable development goals. We have conducted n number of lectures under the series. Today we would be talking on peace, justice and institution under this particular series, and for this very discussion on the topic we have once again with us in our studios Dr. B W Pandey. Dr. B W Pandey is an Associate Professor in Department of Geography, Delhi School of Economics, University of Delhi. So dear friends, let's welcome our guest Dr. B W Pandey, and let's try to get more and more knowledge on the topic peace, justice and institutions. So without wasting any time, I would like to welcome our guest Dr. B W Pandey. Dr. Pandey, welcome to the EduSet lecture.
Thank you, Geetika. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, friends. Today we are going to discuss the Sustainable Development Goal, and one of the most important point of the Sustainable Development Goal is peace, justice and institutions. Friends, as you know, peace and justice, these are the two ultimate indicators of the human development, where peace and justice is available to the masses, to the common. Those countries are very high ranking in the Human Development Index. On the other hand, you'll find the very, very low HDI for those countries where peace and justice are least concerned with the common man and common people are exploited. There are a lot of violence and many other antisocial elements and movements and activities. Friends, this is the reason that peace and justice must be a common feature among all the countries in the world. And for this, we need institutions. So peace and justice are provided through the institutions. That's why the topic for the today is peace, justice and institutions, who provide the platform, base for justice, for social well-being. Social justice, social well-being, only then there will be social development. Without social development, it's not possible to achieve the holistic view of sustainable development. You can understand that why there is an institutional setup. Institutions are established to facilitate the programs, projects, where common man, masses are concerned with the particular institutions. Say for example, right from the local level, institutions like Panchayat as an institution. Coming to the global level, like International Court of Justice, where International Court of Justice provide justice at the international level. Similarly, the panchayats provides peace, justice, social development, social well-being at the local level. So there is a need that we can link from a local to the global with the peace and justice. Only then sarve bhavantu sukhinah. The ultimate goal of sustainable development is sarve bhavantu sukhinah. Each and every person of this planet Earth must be happy, live in peace, live with justice. Therefore, institutions work. institutional setup very, very important. We have parliament, we have legislation assembly, legislation council, coming to the different institutions, ministries, up to the different offices, where social institutions, ethics, culture, tradition, morals, these are also the part of institutions where the work culture flourishes, social culture develops, and with the work culture, with the social culture, it comes global culture. Right from a society to the global society. All these development through the institutions, therefore institutions play a key role in the achievement of the ultimate goal of the sustainable development. Friends, this agenda is a plan of action for people, planet, and prosperity. Sustainable development goals through the institutions providing peace, justice. This is the agenda of the United Nations. And through this agenda, our ultimate objective is to bring prosperity, universal peace. See, nowadays there are lot of global level, lot of violence, unstable government. See what happens in Turkey. What's going on in South Sudan, where people are abandoned? There is civil war. The conditions of the ISIS creating the Islamic State, the condition of the Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iraq, these are highly unstable regions of the world where the West Asia, Maghreb region, MENA region, which are highly disturbed, and there is a need to have a peace and justice. Therefore, the United Nations' ultimate agenda of the sustainable development is to bring the universal peace. Sarve bhavantu sukhina, sarve santu niramaya. It is only possible when there are universal peace. And we are living in a happy planet. So this is the beauty of this planet, culture of this planet, natural assets of this planet require special attention. Therefore, this agenda is a plan of action for people. Plan of action for people, planet, and prosperity. We need the very valuable natural resources of our planet Earth must be sustained, must be available for the future generation also. For that, we need an agenda for the plan of action of the people. It also seeks to strengthen universal peace in larger freedom. We need cumulative work, assignments to function, to strengthen the very noble work of the universal peace and justice. And this is transforming our world, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. This is intergovernmental set of aspiration goals having 169 targets. And friends, peace, justice and strong institutions is the 16th goals of the sustainable development. One of the 16th goals of the sustainable development. We need that. And resolution adopted by the General Assembly of United Nations on 25th September 2015. This resolution for global peace and justice, it is a broader intergovernmental agreement and successor to the Millennium Development Goals. To the Millennium Development Goals, and this goal, popularly known as the future we want. What kind of future we are looking for? We are looking at a future where every people must be happy. Every country should provide the prosperity, social well-being, social development. Prosperous planet, prosperous world, prosperous community, and a prosperous individual. This is the ultimate goals of the Sustainable Development number 16th, peace, justice, and strong institutions. The future we want, which should be prosperous and having justice and peace. According to United Nations Sustainable Development Summit, friends, this summit took place between 25th to 27th September 2015, last year, at New York. The agenda is unique in that it calls the action by all countries, poor, rich, and middle income. It recognizes that ending poverty must go hand in hand with a plan that builds economic growth and addresses a range of social needs. Friends, this is very, very important, where the removal of poverty, end of poverty, has become very, very essential. Today, world is divided on the basis of income, prosperity, social development. We have developed countries called first world, developing countries, underdeveloped countries, so many strata. So there are stratification of the world population, world community, people of the world. Why? Because of there is a poverty. Therefore, it is very important to end the poverty, and that should go hand in hand with the plan that builds economic growth. Without developing the economic prosperity, we cannot change the society. There are so many people in the world who are struggling for the poverty, and they are forced to live a very low standard of life because of poverty. They don't have economic prosperity. They don't have way to develop economically. Without economic development, there is no development of human mind. It's required. And the new Sustainable Development Agenda builds on the successful outcome of the third International Conference on Financing for Development that recently concluded in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Different parts of the world having different institutional setup, to develop the economic prosperity among the masses includes the poor countries, developing countries, provide them economic strength, and it is expected that it will also positively affect the negotiations on a new, meaningful and universal climate agreement in Paris this December 21st session of the Conference of the Parties called COP. This is expected positively because the peace and justice through the economic development gives a meaningful human development, social development. Friends, these economic prosperity, universal peace, institutional development had come an agenda at the intergovernmental level. That's why it is a very, very important chapter, important point in the United Nations Sustainable Development Summit. Friends, if you see the preamble of the Sustainable Development Summit, this is very, very important. 5 fundamental principles, and it is very important to know this, understand. You can understand with this slide. You can see the preamble of the United Nations Sustainable Development Summit, list of 5 fundamental principles. These 5 fundamental principles, you can find the people. People, a kind of people where there is no poverty, no hunger, and there is equality. Equality among the masses, equality among the countries, equality among the societies, and equality among the economy. Friends, people with end poverty and hunger, a society without poverty, without hunger, means you find the equality. Every person living with dignity, peace, and justice. Friends, people is number 1. That's the most important point. Then, second principle is planet Earth. Friends, our Earth has plenty of resources. It is abode of the billions and billions of the people, billions of the flora and fauna. This is the blue planet. This is the planet with atmosphere. This is the planet with regulation of the temperature, water cycle, biosphere, and a wide range of natural resources, both biotic and abiotic resources. Friends, these resources are ultimate asset for a human being. And with the help of these planetary resources, we are able to get the principle number 3, that is prosperity. Prosperity achieved by utilizing the natural resources of the planet Earth. Prosperity achieved by the natural resources of the Earth, exploiting the natural resources of the Earth. processing of the natural resources of the earth. That's the basic principle of the industrialization. The quantitative revolution, different paradigms development with economic prosperity. And this economic prosperity ensures prosperous and fulfilling lives in harmony with nature. Friends, this is very, very important to bring the peace and harmony, not only among the communities, among the countries, among the societies. It is also very important to develop a harmony with man and nature, people and nature, because planet Earth, nature, is the ultimate source of our resources. So resource use must be congenial with the nature. You remember Mahatma Gandhi had said, and we quote it, we must learn this. Nature has plenty of resources. This planet Earth has plenty of resources to fulfill all kinds of needs of the human being on this earth. So earth has plenty of resources to fulfill the needs, but earth is unable to fulfill the greeds of the man. Therefore, there must be a harmony with the nature, man and nature, people and nature, so that our natural resources which are existing today must be existing tomorrow for the future generation. So friends, people, planet and prosperity. Fourth principle is partnership. Partnership implementing the agenda through a solid global partnership. We need global partnership. Partnership between one society to other society. And see the coexistence of rural areas, urban areas. As a very micro level example, partnership. Rural area providing the services to the urban area with the agricultural products, natural products. Urban areas providing the human services to the people of the rural areas. So there is partnership between the urban and rural communities. Similarly, there is a partnership between the developing countries and the developed countries, where there is transfer of technology, transfer of natural resources, transfer of value added goods, and all that. Then, partnership at the global level. And now, we are looking forward not only the intraplanetary partnership, we are looking forward for the interplanetary partnership. We are looking to the Mars, Jupiter, Venus, where a number of discoveries are going on, to even the moon, to establish the partnership from one celestial body to the other celestial body, from one planet to the other planet. So partnership is very, very important, and this is a very important agenda for this sustainable development. And ultimately, out of these 4 principles, including the people, planet, prosperity, partnership, and finally, number 5th is peace. Foster peaceful, just and inclusive societies. Ultimately, so the 5 principles: people, number 1, number 2, planet, number 3, prosperity, number 4, partnership, and number 5, peace. Friends, with the help of these 5 principles, the United Nations Sustainable Development Summit looking forward to establish the peace and justice institutional development to attain the goal of sustainable development. Friends, with these words, I'd like to give you thanks, and if you have any question regarding this, you are most welcome. I'd like to answer with your question. Thank you very much. Now, the question is, how can a country develop? How can people eat and teach and learn and work and raise families without peace? See, this is the kind of social setup. You cannot have a proper meal, proper food. You cannot eat in the condition of violence, war. We need peace. You cannot teach and you cannot learn. Teaching and learning needs very peaceful atmosphere, very peaceful setup. And you can see the countries where there are a lot of violence is going on. Countries like the West Asian countries, North African countries, mainly countries like Syria, Afghanistan, Iraq, where it's highly disturbed. Can you imagine what kind of teaching, learning process will be going there? So we need peace, and we need very peaceful environment to work. You cannot perform in disturbed mind. You cannot perform with mental illness. mental strength achieved through the peace. We need that. And this sustaining the generation. You cannot raise the families. To have children, to have a family, you need a peaceful environment. Without peace, these conditions, these human development, social development, economic development, cultural development, community development is not possible. Second question is, how can a country have peace without justice, without human rights, without government based on the rules and the laws? Friends, we need peace and justice. Along with peace and justice, we need human rights. This is very, very important. Human rights, this is really a kind of asset. So the people who have all kinds of human rights, they have easy accessibility of the human rights. These people are really very lucky. They are highly developed. Compare the people living in Norway, in Switzerland, in New Zealand, in Western Europe, Eastern Europe, American countries, and compare with those human rights which are in the African countries and the Asian countries. There is a pole apart difference between the two. Gradually growing with the human rights, thank our country, India, growing gradually, sensitizing the human rights. Friends, you know, there's a lot of rights. You have learned about right to information, RTI, become a common tool for every common mass. Right to education, right to work. Finally, coming to right to food, right to eat. And now, gradually, now the present government providing that right to live. Right to live. We have right to live. And where do we live? We need a house. We need shelter. That's a government planning. By 2020, every household in the country must have a house. Right to health. Now the health sector growing, very, very important agenda of the government in India. So many rights, and friends, where human rights are denied, those countries are poor, backward, those countries are far away from the peace, justice, and institutions. Government functionaries, government agencies are very, very important in spreading the peace, justice with the institutional setup, and all these are an asset for the human right. Ultimate goal is to enhance the human rights. Therefore, there is an appropriate answer. That answer is 16th goal of 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Friends, Sustainable Development Goals having 17 points, and number 16 is peace, justice and institutions. The 16th goal of the peace, justice and institutions: promote justice, peaceful and inclusive societies. Promote peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development. Provide access to justice for all and build effective, accountable and inclusive institutions at all levels. Friends, very, very important is, it is not important to establish institutions only. Rather, it becomes more important to establish the accountability of these institutions. Friends, accountability, this is a word which have very high human values. This is a synonym. You can find the accountability. Accountability is the ultimate source of the justice. Third world countries, developing countries, were struggling in the casteism, the religion biasness, relationship biasness. Well, this is the reason that these countries are developing and backward, because these countries, the institutions are not accountable as compared to those countries which are developed, because their institutional performance is highly, highly accountable. That's why they provide justice. And if there is justice, there will be peace, there will be performance, there will be development. So peace, justice is the inclusive accountability of the institutions. I'll give you a single example. Friends, this is accountability of the Delhi University, where there are thousands of the universities in India. But why entire country at the time of admission, like nowadays, coming to Delhi University, and there is 99%, 98%, 97% marks of the student, even they are not able to get the admission. Why? Because the university has institutional setup with the high accountability. High accountability, responsible teacher, responsible students, responsible officials. We provide social asset among the student community. We do justice with the teaching and learning. We enhance the ability of the student. Therefore, these are all possible because of institutional accountability. Friends, these institutional accountability are the ultimate achievements of the institution development for peace and justice. We have some very, very important code and some legend of the peace and justice. I'd like to mention these two names, and these two names are globally well known. When we say peace, so the word ahimsa paramo dharma, non-violence. This is the code of Mahatma Gandhi. Non-violence is the greatest force at the disposal of mankind. It is my turn. Then the mightiest weapon of destruction devised by the ingenuity of the man. Friends, non-violence is the most important weapon to fight for the peace and justice. And this has become a culture. This has become a culture. And this is a lesson for the entire world. And on the other hand, we have another code. We could find the number of examples at the global scale where the people following the path of non-violence for peace and justice. Following Mahatma Gandhi, we find the Nelson Mandela in South Africa, Martin Luther King in North America, Mr. Dalai Lama in Tibet. There are so many examples in the world where peace and justice is spread in the society with the help of non-violence. And this is the reason that Indian society gradually had adopted the culture, the ethics of the non-violence. Friends, when in the Ramlila ground, India Gate, there's millions and millions of the people gathered with the peace and harmony. When there is a Kumbh fair in Allahabad, millions of the people gathered there with peace and harmony. That provides social development, belief, faith, belief, justice and peace. And on the other hand, countries suffering from the violence like Syria, Islamic State, Afghanistan, Iraq, MENA countries, Maghreb countries, even Balochistan or Pakistan, where the peace and justice become very difficult because of this violence. So we need non-violence. Therefore, a big question arises. Why should peace be a priority? Yes, we need. The peace should be a priority, right from the local level to the global level. Current levels of violence must be reduced. The violence which is going on, right from the local level to the global level, it must be reduced. Eradication of poverty is impossible without peace. Very, very important, friends. If you see the poverty, level of poverty in African countries, mainly the Sahel countries, countries of the Sahara, south of Sahara, known as Sahel, where countries like South Sudan, Somalia, Burkina Faso, Mali, Chad, Niger, including Central African Republic. Friends, these countries suffering from extreme poverty. And unfortunately, with these extreme poverty, they are also suffering from extreme violence. You know, in South Sudan, millions of the people become houseless. Thanks to government of India, which brought our own people from South Sudan back to India. It's a big rescue. These countries, they cannot reduce their poverty because they are not able to reduce the extreme violence. Therefore, eradication of poverty is impossible without peace. Third point is, peace is a priority for people and governments around the world. It's not a matter of one section, one country, or one region of the world. The peace, non-violence must be priority for each and every corner of the world. We need every country in the world should be free from violence, injustice. There will be equality, justice, and peace. Violent conflict and insecurity have prevented achievement of the Millennium Development Goals. Friends, where there are violent, there is a conflict, there is insecurity. These anti-social happenings, anti-social elements have very, very negative impact on the concept of sustainable development. Finally, no country is invulnerable to violence. Very important point. No country in the world is invulnerable to violence. It all depends on the social setup, institutional performance, social, individual, institutional, governmental accountability. Where these accountability are high, countries are invulnerable, and where these accountability are less, those countries are highly, highly vulnerable. Friends, all these questions explain the particular meaning of the peace, justice, and institutional development. There are two kinds of peace, if we explain in the context of the sustainable development goals. There are negative peace and there are positive peace. Negative peace. Negative peace is defined as the absence of violence and fear. Absence of fear or the violence, and is typically measured by indicators of direct physical violence such as homicide rates, or violent crime. Where these phenomena are not found, this is called negative peace. On the other hand, we have positive peace. Positive peace broadly refers to the key institutions. Positive peace broadly refers to the key institutions, structures, and attitudes. Think carefully. Institutions, structures, attitudes which facilitate a non-violent society. Positive peace indicators tend to focus on prevention and drivers of negative peace and may include measures or indicators such as incidence of corruption or government capacities to deliver basic services in an equitable and inclusive way. I'll give you example. I'll give you example that we are living in a society where multilinguistic, multicultural, multireligious. This is the identity of our nation. This is our positive peace, because this is ethics. We have learned from our childhood that we are multilinguistic, multicultural. We have unity and diversity, a diverse country. It's an asset for the country. This is strength of the country. We have learned it. This is positive. On the other hand, there is always chance of the violence between the same religion in Iraq. What's going on in Iraq? The people, terrorist group belonging to the Shia have blast in the Sunni area, and Sunni people have blast in the Shia area. It's not a fight with the outside country, outside world. They are fighting within themselves on the name of Shia and Sunni. This is, if there is no blast, if there is no violence, it means there is a peace, but that peace is called negative peace. For us in India, we have positive peace because we have learned, we have faith, we have social ethics. This is social setup. So, positive peace is more important than negative peace. It is ultimately the progress in both negative and positive peace which aids stability and progress in peace and development. The presence of conflict is a major interrupter to development. A society without conflict, a society without struggle, society with peace, justice, and harmony. Friends, therefore, there is no doubt that the inclusion of this goal in the Sustainable Development Goals is significant. Rather, it is essential. It even can be argued that Sustainable Development Goal number 16 is the most important goal, without which none of the other goals can be sustained. However, Sustainable Development Goals number 16 is also just as complex as it is significant. Without peace, justice, and institutional development, it is not possible for any country in the world to develop any agenda of sustainable development. Friends, peace and justice is not achieved overnight. Peace and justice cannot be claimed overnight. It is a continuous process of the social development, institutional development, governmental responsibility, public accountability, institutional accountability, for which a general overview develops. So we need a general overview right from the local scale to the global scale, to foster the peace, justice, and peace and justice is possible through the very, very strong institutional setup. The establishment of United Nations in 1945, establishment of the different wings of the United Nations like World Health Organization, United Nations Environment Program, Food and Agriculture Organization, so many things. Similarly, coming to the national level, institutional development, which is a symbol of the peace and justice, like honorable courts, institutions like a society, social setup, our culture, our ethics. So when inclusive development, we talk about inclusive development for sustainable development, it is not possible without peace, justice, and harmony. And peace beginning from a local peace to the universal peace. Harmony at a household level, harmony at a community level, harmony at the global level. Friends, these sustainable development phenomena you can interrelate with the level of functions. Even in India, you divide, sometimes we look, India east and the west. Eastern part of India having all mineral resources, but those mineral resources having value addition in the west. So raw material in the east, value addition in the west. So finally, the end product is transported from west to east. You can buy a spoon at cheaper rate in Mumbai as compared to Kolkata. As compared to the east, west have cheaper commodity because they have value addition. Accountability. So, peace, justice, and institutional development are the ultimate goal for sustainable development. Friends, thank you very much. If any question, you are most welcome.
Definitely, dear friends, if you have any question, then you can mail us at info.cc@nic.in. We would definitely try to help you by answering to your questions. So, if you want to give your feedback, you can mail us at info.cc@nic.in. We would be meeting again very soon. Till then, take care. Goodbye. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.